The markets at the moment, It might be partly because we're in the summer and things tend to slow down a bit in the summer months, or it might be that the markets are waiting on news from the Fed. But there's definitely a bit of a stalemate in many markets this week. Luckily, though, this evening we get the update from the Federal Reserve as it's time for their monetary policy announcement. Although, once again, we're not really expecting any material changes this time. The FOMC statement will likely continue to show that they understand that inflation is on the rise, but that famous word that is only transitory. And they'll also probably point out that the economy is growing. But for the press conference, Jerome Powell will probably continue to emphasize patience on tapering, especially now that the Delta variant is becoming more of a threat to the US economic recovery. And as you would have heard in our video yesterday on the IMF growth forecasts, this is also something that the IMF are encouraging for the sake of both developed and emerging economies. Now, since tapering will come before rate rises, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that rates are going to continue to stay the same. But what we're looking for are any hints about tapering plans or suggestions about how their discussions are going around that subject. Obviously, the important thing we need at the moment are details in the coming months, things like when tapering will begin, how long it will take, and whether a hot housing market will mean that MBSs will be adjusted quicker. It's unlikely that they'll announce their plan just yet or give any solid details, but what's said this evening, and particularly the meeting minutes which will be released in 3 weeks' time, could show us what sorts of discussions are taking place so far. Now, it's widely expected that the Fed will begin laying the groundwork at the time of the Jackson Hole conference at the end of August, and at that point the wheels will be in motion. From then it's likely that more details will come in the September meeting before formally being announced in December. Now, according to predictions from ING, which I agree with, the reduction in QE purchases could happen very quickly and come to a complete end in the second quarter of next year. Now, although the meeting today will be relatively uneventful, it could allow markets to be a little bit less restricted, less waiting for news coming up this week, and we may see an end to some of the tight ranges that we've been seeing recently, like Euro USD that we've been monitoring over the past week or so and traded twice, or US stocks like we see on screen here with the Dow. You can see that we got to all-time highs again, but it's kind of stalled out there. This is the daily chart you see here, but if we look at, for example, the 4-hour chart, you can see this very shallow sort of rise. There are very shallow highs that are being formed, and around here is really starting to cluster around. Although we've had very positive earnings coming out in this earnings season, it's sort of staying in this tight range around here. So I think getting this Fed meeting out of the way, even if it's uneventful, will free up this market and others so it can break out of this tight range. The important thing here is whether this bullish structure, both the short and long-term bullish structure, is going to continue by pushing above this level here, or whether we're going to see again lower highs, lower lows as we push through the bottom. There are plenty of levels and paths of resistance that we can map out on the hourly chart and below, so intraday timeframes. But for now, I'm holding off, waiting for that meeting. I want to see if we approach either the top or the bottom of this range just before that meeting takes place, or just before the announcement from the meeting takes place. And then let's see what happens with that Fed announcement as the catalyst to see if we push above or below. So keeping an eye on this one, I'm looking at US dollar franc, Euro USD, GBP USD. If you want to see my updates on those, check out the live stream morning markets from this morning inside our community. If you like these updates, hit the like button. Don't forget, if you want to know how I trade, we have our free training that's linked in the description box down below. Let me know your thoughts on what's going to happen and what do you think the timeline will be on the Fed tapering. Leave a comment. Looking forward to reading those, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.